Good evening, everybody. It is 6, well, it's nearly 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And in this update, we're going to take a look at a few things. Mainly, we're going to focus on the cold and snow that is approaching the country right now, really. So we're going to take a look at 15 days from now, hour 384. I'm going to take a look at our winter weather, our total snowfall, and take a look at it. So again, this is our latest run. This came out just within the hour, and there's becoming a honing in on modeling, and the consistency is there. Now it's starting to hone in on what areas specifically will see snow. So again, the West has always been a primary feature in this, that factor that they'll get some pretty good substantial amounts of snow. But now we have the storm system. It's starting to pop up and crop up on the models, but it hasn't been very consistent in terms of 5 days of consistency. I'd like to see that before I say this area is going to get this storm for sure. We've also had a lot of consistency in the Northeast as well. The snow belts have been overall consistent, but today they're kind of like on and off. Sometimes they have snow in the snow belt, sometimes not so much. But again, I think the biggest talk in the national, and local weather stations, including the Weather Channel and AccuWeather, will be in your local weather stations. Of course, your local news outlets will be talking about this storm, which will be potentially in Iowa and southern Minnesota, in the whole state of Wisconsin. And this is a very expansive storm, all the way to Nebraska, South Dakota, and Michigan. So, why don't we take a look at the progression of the storm system off our NSEP model site, which NOAA so graciously gives us. We're going to take a look at our American model for North America, and we're going to take a look at how this storm evolves, its evolution. Because right now, of course, the energy is not even on land yet, so that's a common theme when you're into meteorology. You know that when the energy from a storm is not even on land yet, models don't have a good accurate picture of what will happen with that storm, simply because it's still over the waters and not on the land yet. So here we are at November 20th. Here's our first shot of cold Arctic air trying to make its way and intrude and protrude into the USA. And it really gets cold there by November 21st, but nothing significant in terms of snowfall or anything like that. This could be our first snow flurries for areas in Cleveland. This would be again November 22nd. So that's something to keep in mind. But notice the troughing starts to get deeper, and I believe that's due to the negative NAO, because there's no source region for this troughing in the Northeast, which indicates another factor being involved, and I believe it's the block right where Greenland is. So here we go to November 25th, and then we're getting closer, and I believe this is the storm system. So keep your eyes on this, which is evolving. Here it is. Big system, a lot of heavy rain and snow with it. And I'm not going to pause you and take you through that whole thing, but just know that, again, the storm is not on land yet. It's very far away in terms of model accuracy. So we do not know, as amateurs and as professionals, the exact measurements of the storm and what will happen with it. So our NAO index is currently negative and going even more negative until it goes neutral by December 1st. So we'll see. Maybe this will continue to go negative. There's still a lot of time for this to change, but I do say that you want a negative NAO consistent especially throughout the whole winter, like we saw during the winter of 2009 and 2010. The NAO was deeply negative that whole winter, and that's why we got snowmageddon in so many states in the Mid-Atlantic. Um, so that's just a classic example of if and when you get a negative NAO to drop negative for that long, you get results in the Mid-Atlantic. You get snow in those areas like the Northeast and the Mid-Atlantic. Um, yeah, well, we'll have to keep it monitored on the NAO on how long this will stay negative. Because again, the more it stays negative, um, the more amplitude it's going to have. The more kind of like when you get a train. The bigger the train, the more momentum it has. So the longer this NAO stays negative, the more oomph it'll have with it to provide us with cold. The more the strength it will have. So I will close off with our CFS monthly forecast for December, and I will give you my thoughts on that. So basically, the whole average of all these runs are saying a warm USA, at least the continental United States, are going to be warm, above average, that is. But we do have a consistent cool patch right there in central Canada and western Canada, and also in the northern plains. And right now, I know that is pretty accurate in terms of where that cold air is going to be, because this, looking at the medium range models, it's showing that because of the negative NAO going into late November to early December, there's going to be some cold in these areas where the blue is right here in the northern plains and whatnot. Now, I'm not so sure about, well, the warmth in the east and in the Gulf states and in the Southwest. That could very well be. I just haven't looked into it enough to say that, yeah, that's going to happen. So, but in the meantime, my winter forecast will be coming out probably around November 25th. It won't be any later than the 28th or 9th, because I want to get it before meteorological winter starts. So that's it for now, guys. And enjoy. There's going to be a lot of treats and goodies for you guys who love the cold and snow. A lot of snowstorms over the next basically 2 weeks. So, all right, guys. Cheers. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. God bless and sayonara.